So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today I'm joined by Henry, and he plays guitars, vocals on the band, QAALM.
Calm.
Yeah. Calm, okay. You know that I wrote
Say
it
it with
wrong.
me.
I wrote it
Calm.
calm, okay. So, yeah, that's, I'm like, how do you say it? Is it, okay, calm, just like
Say
it's
it however.
written?
Yeah, say it however you want to say it, as long as you spend your hard-earned money and buy the record.
Yes, but I when I put the the invite, I put it with a U and two A's. I'm like, no, it's wrong. That's not the name of the band. So
All
yeah,
good, man.
calm. So you guys, I listened to your previous records, and I listened to the record that's gonna be out this November 1st, Friday. So yeah, the record is called "Great Impressions of an Unbroken Arc."
You
Uh,
got it.
Got it right. It's a little bit of a
All right.
tongue twister there. And it has four songs, but four long songs. And I listened to your previous work, and I think on this one, you get more into the progressive side of things than on the previous record, especially on the singing. So, first of all, Henry, how are you today in LA?
Hector, I'm doing, I would say my mood is somewhat acceptable. Thank you for asking. LA, it still feels like summertime to me, and it's, October, Halloween, and I mean it's cooling down somewhat, but yeah, it's making me miss the East Coast right about now.
Yeah. It's 90, it's been in the 90s over here in Puerto Rico. It hasn't let up. It's supposed to be less hot this time of year, and it feels like it's summertime too. So I feel your pain. So
Man,
yeah,
we're living in the worst time imaginable. It gets hotter every year. There's no more winter anywhere on the planet Earth. I don't like it. Anyway,
yeah,
you were saying.
yeah, no, it really is hot. So yeah, this the album, I listened to it. It's pretty interesting. I like the flow of the record. So tell me a little bit for people who haven't listened to Calm. How would you describe the band in a nutshell?
That's a very difficult question. I think the essence of the band's sound, as of right now, is most certainly epic, atmospheric, progressive, blackened doom metal. That's I would go with that description. But as you know, you heard on the record, we have a lot of death metal influences, a lot of classic rock influences. All that stuff is there. It's heavy and dark though, so that's definitely, I think, the defining factor for a band like Calm. We're never going to lose that. We're always going to experiment and try to take our music um, to various different areas and basically just try to explore the depths of rock, metal, all these different subgenres that we put in there. Um, and yeah, I would just say it's dark, heavy, atmospheric, epic music for people, for adventurous listeners, if you will.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair way to put it. You also do some black metal vocals in some of the songs, which sounds great. I'm like, yeah, I like the variation in the vocal styles that you do on this record. And also, it's a record that I like how you say for adventurous people because it does go in different ways. I was reminded, and I was reading a lot that a lot of people are talking like comparing or saying like they reminded of a band like Agalog, uh, which is obviously is a great it's a great compliment. So yeah, like I know that because I listened to your old stuff, and your old stuff seemed to be more on the doomier side. I think there's more clean vocals and different stuff on this one. When you started to record this, did you want it to do? Did you did like a different approach where you're like, let us expand our sound? What was like the mindset going into this one?
Well, first and foremost, the biggest thing for me was I wanted to work with our drummer Dave. Um, I wanted, I think Dave and I were, we were able to form a close knit bond in terms of really tackling the musicianship and the songwriting element for this record. You know, I think for most people, like one of the most interesting aspects of metal and heavier music is the drums. So, I think that's one of the things that we were lacking on the first record. We didn't have a lot of there wasn't a whole lot going on in the drum department, and but it worked for the songs. It worked for the material on that record, and I certainly didn't think about um creating this drastic departure from the first record. I thought more about the songwriting in terms of the drums and the faster tempos and things of that nature. I also knew that if I was going to be tackling the vocals, that I was going to be able to express myself, in that area. And I don't, as you were saying, the vocals are not just one thing. They are not one dimensional. I like to do a lot of different types of things, and I knew the clean vocals were going to be more prominent. I definitely knew that the time signatures, the faster tempos, like I knew that that was going to be a part of it as well. So I think that's the biggest difference. But I did approach the songs in the same way artistically, in terms of having the long drawn out songs and having um different sections, kind of different tones and things of that nature. I think I don't think it's like a drastic departure personally, but maybe that's just because I'm too close to it. Maybe because I'm in the band and I've kind of like lived these songs. But it's always cool to hear people's take on the band and the music, and especially this new album. So I appreciate getting your feedback there.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it sounds like a different band, but it does sound like a band that's evolving, experimenting. And you choose the single that you have is Hangman's Lament, which is, I would say, it's the short track on the record at 9.5 minutes. But it closes the album. When it went to time to pick a single, tell me about like why you chose Hangman's Lament to be the single for this record.
Well, when you only have four songs to choose from, it makes your life a bit more difficult in terms of choosing a single, this and that, the other. I just did that with Chris on our record label, and we were able to do that just essentially based on that being uh, a very energetic kind of progressive track. And whereas Borderlands, the second single, the song we shot the music video for, is very different in that regard. It's more of a yeah, it has more of a doomier kind of
Yeah.
brooding atmospheric vibe. So I think that was the whole yeah, that was the main thing. But again, like when we only have four songs on the record, they're obviously very, very long. you know um Most people, when they think about a single, they're it's like 4 or 5 minute tracks. So yeah, I don't, I think it's kind of silly, for
Mm.
bands like us, bands like QAALM, to just, it's hard to think of a song as a single when it's so
Yeah, just
long, and like the equivalent of four or five songs.
of 4 or 5 pop songs. Yeah, but Borderlands, yeah, that opens the records. It's a real cool song. It's more doomy, like you said, and hopefully it's not inspired on that awful movie that just came out called
I
Borderlands.
don't I don't know anything about that movie.
No,
Um,
it's based on a
yeah,
video game that was really good.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I don't know anything about that. So no, it
yeah.
definitely has nothing to do with that whatsoever. Yeah.
No, I know, I know. It was just joking about that for people. So,
Okay.
so yeah. So tell me a little bit about the themes that you tackle on this record.
Well, a lot of this is an angry record in a sense. There's a lot of anger, and I think along with that, along with an array of emotions that weren't as prevalent on the first album, kind of allowed the faster tempos and allowed us to get a lot heavier. Um, which is why I was saying earlier that there's definitely a primary focus on the drums. And Mensu, our guitar player, he was able to bring an element in that was in my eyes is so very important. And that's his. He's such an expressive player, and his style is very different than mine. But he comes from he comes from an interesting background too. He's played in a lot of death metal bands, and it was cool. It's cool to have a player like that, because I think that does accentuate the different emotions on the record. But without getting too crazy and without getting into a lot of the lyrical content, I'm just going to say that very personal, lyrically. I think I pretty much. I tried to stray away from a lot of the themes that we tackled on the first record, and I know that it just seemed lyrically it seemed to be lacking on the first album, and I wanted to really focus on not only different subject matter, but again, like I wanted the vocals to be dynamic in nature and not just be in yeah, I just really want to be more expressive. And I think the lyrics are everything on this record. They're so important. And it's also just like very difficult to get into that, especially in this kind of interview. Maybe if we were going back and forth via email, it'd be easier for me to kind of throw some stuff at you there. But it's kind of like it's more interesting for me as a songwriter, as a vocalist, musician, whatever, to get your thoughts. And I think, again, because the lyrics are so personal, and we're not tackling, we're not Nile or Mastodon, so we're not tackling that kind of stuff, in which two bands I love. But yeah, it's it just runs the gamut, man, between your typical array of emotions, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's and I think you express everything expressed, especially in the way that you sing. Unfortunately, I don't have the lyric sheet, so I wish I had it so I could so I could read the lyrics better. But no, it wasn't in the promo. Uh,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
but yeah, no, they do sound like interesting, and it's a it's a very like record that goes through ups and downs in every song. So I like it that it has that variation that you can hear on it. And I can see you are hard on yourself a little because of the lyrics. And no, but no, that's like I said. There's you can hear the growth in the band, uh, and I think it is 4 songs, and I always like with long songs. I think the trick is to have people engage. I was always engaged with the song because it has so many changes. Because if you have like a long song with because I've heard some progressive bands that have long songs, and sometimes they have a part where they're doing like the same guitar thing for 5 minutes, and it can get fucking boring.
Well,
But that's
yeah,
why
of
I like
course.
that there's different parts and variations.
No shortage of variation, and you know the songs are as long as they need to be, and the
Mhm.
songs don't feel long, especially when we're playing them in rehearsal room or whatever, or when we're playing them live. And we've played, I think we've played most of these songs. No, maybe we played three out of the four live, I think, but we've definitely played a couple live because we can't play more than two songs, in a live set. But they don't feel long to me. As a listener, I don't think about that either when I'm writing, and
Mhm.
I don't think that you know I don't think that bands, musicians, artists should think about that stuff. A song is
Yeah.
as long as you want it to be, as it needs to be. Now, I will say that their first album, a lot of those songs are a bit too long for me um, today, where I am today, because it just kind of what you were saying. There's a lot of riffs that just like kind of keep going for several minutes, and for this record, I did want to trim the fat and just not do that because I didn't really, as a player, it gets a little boring, for me. And we spent so much time on that first record. It took forever to come out. And I think I've outgrown it just a little bit, and definitely as a player.
And probably, you have more the experience of playing now. Maybe the band, you know more like the direction we want to take the band. And this album was engineered by Paul Fig, and the mastering by Zeuss, who everyone knows. He's done some albums for amazing bands. So the sound of the record, it's great. That's something also because I listen to sometimes when I interview like like newer bands or bands that I'm not that familiar with, and I'm interesting. I like to listen to their old stuff so I can see like the growth, and especially I think
Sure.
the sound of this record really sounds way better than the first one. So that yeah, that's a great thing. So yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, the production was super important for this record because you know, we had to outdo ourselves, and most definitely there needed to be an evolution from the first one, especially because, for many reasons. For one, the lineup is different.
hmm
Two, the songwriting is on another level. Lyrically, vocally, all of that stuff is bigger and hopefully better. Hopefully it's bigger and better. But that's what you strive for. That's um, an album is where you are at that present time, and I couldn't be happier with this record. And yeah, of course, Zeuss was able to really bring it to life in a way that I don't know, man. I'm just, if we did not have Zeuss, um, I don't know what the end result would be, because it was a slippery slope there for a minute. And obviously Paul Fig was very helpful in terms of helping us get drum tones and guitar tones. But we produced this album on our own for the most part. But we needed help, and we needed professional help. We needed good people on our team to do that. So yeah, man. I think uh, I think it's as big as any metal record out there in terms of like the overall production value.
yeah. No, it sounds great. So I see that you on the back that you have a very impressive record collection. So yeah, let's talk about records like tell like what price possessions do you have on vinyl?
The records, the just collecting things in general, it's a sickness. Don't let people tell you any different. But it's important. It's important. I I think it's important having a tangible copy of whatever it is. It's like it's not enough to have Mortician
Mhm.
Zombie Apocalypse on your phone, MP3 or whatever. I think, especially regarding um, the art itself. You want the
Mhm.
artwork, and you want the liner notes, and you want all that good stuff. But yeah, this is my archive. This is my library, right? This is my life, and um, music has been one of those, been the only constant thing in my life, I have to say, ever since being a kid. So I've been collecting records since I was um, 7 or 8 years old, and of course CDs, cassettes, all that good stuff. But I've managed to get rid of a lot of stuff over the years just because I'm completely out of room. But you were asking me about prized possessions. In terms of records, I have many holy grails, I guess you might say. One of them would be I have a copy of the Louvin Brothers. It's a record called Satan is Real, and for a long time it was one of those records that was very high on the collector's list, and um, very very hard to find. But there is a reissue of it that Light in the Attic put out, and it's an interesting record. The history behind it is interesting. Hank 3 used a sample of it on one of his albums, and it definitely, I think a lot of like bands and artists have kind of been inspired by that. It's kind of like really has, it's old school country that has a dark tone to it, and it's really fascinating that it's managed to have this the life that it has, so to speak. That would be one record that I'm very proud to own, but we'll probably leave it there.
Yeah, no. So, how do you know how many you have? Because it seems like, at least in the
Uh,
back.
oh, I have about 10,000
Wow.
LPs, 10,000 LPs, and I don't know, a few thousand 45 7 inches, a few hundred 10-inch records. Yeah,
Hopefully you have. Do you have them organized by genre or by
um,
alphabetical?
yeah, it's always interesting to see how people organize their collection. For me, everything is alphabetical by genre.
Okay.
Because I like I have um I have pop, rock, and punk kind of all collectively mixed together. Works for me, makes sense for me, and again, it's alphabetical. Over here, I have all my metal stuff, all the heavier stuff, and then hip hop, folk, country, jazz over here, R&B, soul. Yeah, everything by genre. And that's what works best for me. Just I think um, just depending on what mood I'm in. And of course, like compilations are in a different section, all that stuff. It's ridiculous, really.
Yeah, well, I think at least you can be the person that says like I don't know what to listen to, like
I
like
still I still say that I still do that all the time. I'm yeah I do that all the time because I'll never have enough records. Like I said, it's a
or
sickness.
maybe it will take you more time just to pick one because you'll be which one should I listen to, and you'll be like an hour just deciding on which to listen. So yeah, I know. I don't have. I just have like 300 or four. So yeah, no, you have a lot of like of records. So yeah, but that's impressive, and it's cool that you have like a collection with like different genres and styles. So let me show the artwork of the record for people to let's talk about the artwork. So here we have the
Right on.
artwork of the record. So yeah, pretty cool artwork. So tell me a little bit about what you wanted to convey with this artwork.
Well, I wanted the landscape artistically just to match the the sonic realm of the record, because the record is so vast and has this to me, I think the record has this overwhelming sense of um dread and beauty and darkness and light, and there's all these different emotions that are happening. I wanted the art to depict that, most certainly. And you can definitely see that within this piece of art. But yeah, I just like that it's abstract, yet um you know it's not one of those pieces that you can look at and just not know what to make of it. To me, it has a lot of dimensions and a lot of depth there, and I think it matches the record perfectly. I love the colors, and I love what our label has done with the vinyl release. And yeah, the layout and everything looks great. So I can't wait for people to check it out.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty cool artwork, and it goes with the record. It's pretty cool. So the name of the record itself is pretty interesting. Great impressions of an unbroken arc. Is there like a meaning to that title?
There's certainly a meaning to it. Like I said, I don't want to get too crazy into it. Again, like going into the lyrical content and all that good stuff. I know that I've explained myself somewhere. There's probably a couple things you can find online concerning it, concerning the title. But I guess in a nutshell, for me, the grave impressions, it could mean the impression that you leave upon the earth. It could mean the impression you leave upon someone else. And maybe it's not the best one, but maybe it wasn't your finest moment. And maybe, I think it's an interesting take on that kind of thing. And the unbroken arc essentially is the story, the journey. And it may or may not necessarily be the story you wanted to tell, but it's also ongoing. For me, it's like
Mm-hmm.
the story never ends. And that's an interesting part of the conversation, I think. But again, like I was saying earlier, in terms of the lyrics and the lyrical content, I choose for the listener to make their own.
Interpretations, yeah.
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, no, and this is the type of record that is cool to like listen to with great speakers because it has so many dimensions. It's gonna be out this Friday, November the 1st. What's next for the band now that the album is out? Are you gonna be playing some shows?
Yeah, man, we'd like to play as many shows as we possibly can. It's just a matter of like who will have us and how can we make that happen financially and all that good stuff in terms of routing. And so right now we're looking at doing some shows next year and potentially in May. We'd like to do, a short tour, maybe a week or two, go out with another cool band. And it's just it is difficult because everything is more expensive than it was even just a few years ago, with inflation and all of that. So, yeah, I would definitely say like keep in touch with us on, hit us up with anything that you may be aware of in terms of like, hey, we know this band wants to go out, or we know of this festival. Maybe I can hook you up with him, this and that, the other. Anyone that would like to help us, that likes the record, that wants to support the band, please do so. Because it's not easy. It's very difficult being in a band like this, and just getting to pick and choose, in making it happen. You need people on your team and you need a support system. But yeah, we'd like to get out and play some shows and do a small tour next year, hopefully. Yeah, keep tabs on us on, via socials and any, you know, um, hopefully in the spring. That's all I can say, I guess.
Soon. So I'll post the link for people who want to get the album, pre-order it, the vinyl copies and everything. I know I read that the vinyl copies is limited. It's a limited LP to, there's 100 Radiant Sun plus 100 back. So there's 200 copies. 100 one variant, 100 in the other. And of course,
Right on.
yeah, you can buy it also digitally to support the band. And I would recommend this band. It says it right here. Like if you like Paul Bear, YOB, Agalog, Mastodon, those type of bands, you can get into QAALM. So I'm like, yeah. I would say, yeah, if you listen to those bands, you can listen to QAALM. It has their own sound and something that everyone can enjoy. So Henry, before I let you go, like anything that you'd like to say to the people before we go?
Well, thank you, Hector, man, for your time and for having me, and for plugging Calm and the record. Thanks to everybody that's checked it out, that's hit us up, that supported us in the past, even from the first record. Thanks to our record label. And yeah, I just want to point out that if you like what you hear, please support the band and buy a physical copy and support the record label. Support other bands. Support art that you like, because that is important. It does help, even if it's just knowing that someone out there gives a shit. It's so very helpful. So yeah.
Plus everyone needs to get paid for their art, and obviously you need money to buy more records, man.
I think so, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Harry, thank you for joining me all the way from LA to here, Puerto Rico. I really enjoyed the record. It's a great record with great dynamics, different elements into sometimes one song. So that's very impressive. So Couchers, the album for Calm, is out this Friday, November 1st. So until next time, this sector, the Shield Dude on a Couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.